One of the biggest coaching wins in my career so far was a conversation I had with a client who at the time was prone to overtraining, was struggling to make progress on a consistent basis, and was frequently getting injured. And they're going to know exactly who they are when they watch this video. The conversation I had was basically a shift in mindset where instead of thinking about their time in the gym as training, they thought of it as practice. Now for me, the concept of training, it conjures up images of excessive hard work, working till you're in a puddle of your own sweat, the go hard, go home mentality. Practice, on the other hand, conjures up images of purposeful, deliberate, attentive, calm, productive work. And this was a bit of a light bulb moment for that particular client, and since then they've had much better results. This comes down to the fact that you simply can't separate strength and technique, at least not fully. And when we look at a lot of the traditional strength training recommendations, we start to see that it makes a lot of sense when viewed within the paradigm of skill acquisition. So the Russian research suggests that somewhere between 75 and 85% of your max is the best range to develop strength. And to me, that would also just roughly be the appropriate degree of difficulty within which you can practice something that's heavy enough to be specific and applicable to your 1 rep max, or that skill of hitting a 1 rep max, but it's light enough so that you can do a technically pretty proficient job every single rep. And this is given greater credence when you look at the recommendation that somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 of your maximum capacity is the appropriate volume. Again, if you look at different examples of this in different sports where skill acquisition is a higher priority, it really starts to make sense. Say that it's your goal to start learning how to play golf. And in the first few months of practice, you realize that after about 3 hours of hitting balls on the green or at the driving range, the quality of your practice just completely diminishes. You start getting sore, you lose focus, the quality of repetitions goes down. It would make sense then to train somewhere between 1 and 2 hours on those occasions, because anything less than 1 hour and you're probably just not getting the volume of repetitions necessary to stimulate much benefit. But much over 2 hours and you know that the quality of what you're doing is starting to go down. When we focus on the skill, that decision-making process makes a lot of sense. When we think about training and physiological output, it starts to muddy the waters and we start thinking that maybe you need to do more. Because the overall goal of your training program and your training career as a whole is just to increase the volume of technically proficient repetitions. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. Now, where this is also really important in terms of your decision making is to think about this analogy. No golf coach has ever set their client the task of how many balls can you hit in 15 minutes. It just doesn't happen. No snooker coach has ever said how long does it take you to pot 50 balls. It's just not a task that gets set. Instead, they give their client a carefully crafted, specific drill that's going to provide the maximum amount of successful repetitions under more and more challenging circumstances.